So today we are going to understand what is Typescript and why we have to use Typescript in our code. So let's see the official website. So they say Typescript is a JavaScript with syntax for types. Means Typescript is nothing but a JavaScript with syntax for types. And then they said TypeScript is a strongly typed programming language that builds on JavaScript, giving you a better tooling at any scale, right? It's mean TypeScript is built on JavaScript, giving us a better tooling at any scale. So let's understand this definition with the example. And by the end of this video, you have very clear idea why we have to use TypeScript in our code. So let's create a file, JS file. Now in this file I'm creating a simple add function. This function takes two parameter a and b and return the sum of this two parameter a plus b, right? Now let's print the output of this add function. Okay, so I'm passing 2 and 3. So the output will be 5. So let's run this code in terminal. Let's put it here and I'm running this file. Yes, as expected the output is 5, right? So what happened when I pass number as a string, right? And let's again run this code. As you see, our output is changed. Now it says 23, right? Because we pass number as a string, right? That's why our output will be changed. So let's see how TypeScript helps in this type of scenarios, because we don't want that add function return this type of output, right? We want addition of two numbers only, right? So let me change this JS file into TS file. So in TypeScript, what TypeScript says that you have to define a type of variable. So in this function we can define what type it what type this variable takes, right? So in this add function we have two parameter. So what is the type of this two parameter? So in this case the type of parameter will be number. So how we define a type of this parameter? Just put a colon after this and write the name of type. So we have a number type. I'm doing the same for the other parameter. Now it is very clear that this function has two parameter and takes number as an argument. Okay, so right now my editor complains me about this value, and when I hover it, it says argument of type string is not assignable to parameter of type number. Means they're trying to say that you are giving string where it expect a number. Okay, so when I correct this, my error is gone. And if I run this code, let me quickly run this code. Okay. Uh-oh, let me fix this. There is a npx npx tsx and index.ts. Right. So uh, as you see, the our output is 5 as we expected, and someone who write who are passing some different value. Assume uh, you write this code and some other developer utilize your code and calling the add function with another value like 10 or something, but mistakenly they pass number as a string. Or imagine this value comes from an API. Assume that this there is a data, right? There is a data is coming from another part of code or anywhere else. So mistaken they pass this data like this. So immediately as soon as I as soon as the developer pass the wrong data inside this, the editor will complain and tell us about the error that you are passing string which is not assignable to parameter of the of type number. Means you are passing string data type which is not assignable to type number. So that's why we are using Typescript. It clearly say, because assume you have a very large code base and you have to run your code to identify what is the problem and where is the problem is. So TypeScript save lot of time to debugging, or before you run the code it throws an error. It your editor will show the error, what is the error is, because TypeScript is defining our function and object a shape. So basically you think like a TypeScript is like defining a shape of our function and object. So we can understand uh, clearly why we use TypeScript. As you see in this example, let me clear this. You also read this function clearly, that as you see this function, you clearly see that this function, this add function takes two parameter, and this parameter only takes number type. We have to pass, when we call the function, we only have to pass the number. Any other data type will not allow, right? That's why TypeScript very helpful when you are coding. So let me take another example. So let's create an helper function, right? Let's change this into JS for now and remove this, right? And quickly, so what I'm doing is that I'm putting this add function in a separate helper file, and in this file we are importing this add function from helper. And let's say I am a developer and I have to use in my file use this add function in my file. So I have item 1 and item 2, right? And I have another variable called total cost, and for this I'm keeping logic very simple so we can understand clearly the bigger picture. So console log We are consoling the total cost, right? So this work perfectly fine, because in real case scenario, you have you have this common function in separate file, and you are basically you utilize that function to create your logic, right? So this work perfectly fine. Now imagine we have another file called product, right? In this file we have another function called print product details, right? In this function what we have a price, and this price function again utilize add function, which is a helper function or common function we have. So let's say we are adding this to value, and we have price of our product, and we have this sentence over here. This sentence is saying the product price is whatever the price is, price inside this variable. We will print this line, and we have to return this sentence. So basically why I'm creating this, because imagine you have a website where product are listed, and inside the product, below the product we have a small text line, a small sentence, just showing that your product price is whatever, like. So imagine this product page, this product file is created by some other developer, and you are working on index file, right? So when you are working with a large code base, uh, we have different teams, and maybe your team working in some other country, and uh, people who are working with product page working in another country. So what happened, uh, what let's take a scenario. So when you see this code to the client, your client said that you have to pass a currency symbol in this line, so a user can clearly understand um, price, what this price is, means this price in which currency, right? So price in any currency like rupees, dollar, euro, right? So we have a requirement to add a dollar, right? So our output will look like this. Let me run this file before adding the currency. Let's copy this and print the output of this function. Let's import it from the product file. Let me fix this also, and let's run this index.js. As you see, uh, the code inside this is run perfectly fine, and the code inside product file is also run perfectly fine, right? There is no issue. But after our requirement, we put dollar, a currency symbol, and let's run again. Okay, so that time also our code is run perfectly fine. But imagine the product file, in this product file there is a lot of function. There are a lot of function, and the that uh, there are a lot of function, and those function has this type of line, not same line, but utilizing the price, and uh, developer have to change uh, from this line to this line, means they have to put currency symbol in each and every function. So changing every function is not a good idea. So what they decide to change the helper function itself. So let me remove for now, and they decide to change the helper function. They create a result variable, and they create another variable, and add the currency symbol right here, right, and change the return value. Let's run this code. Let's clear this up and run this code again. uh, Let me fix this, and let's remove from here. Now as you see, uh, for them who's working on product file, this is work perfectly fine. They save time for their function. They don't have to change every function's code to put a simple currency symbol. So for them, they think this solution will work, right? But what happened to the developer who's working on this code? Their output will be changed like this, but they don't want that output, right? So they come after some time on, or seeing their output will be changed, they see their code, the code is perfectly fine, then why the output is changed? So they they go to the helper function and see, oh, the code is will be changes, and they change comment this line and change again the code. So this is not a right way of doing coding, right? So how TypeScript help us in this type of scenario? So let's convert this file into TS. As we know, if we put if we define types in parameter, and we also define the type of function returning value, so this function this function return what? Returning value which has type of number. So we can simply put a type for function that this function is returning number type. So that's how we uh, define a type for return value of this function. Now read this function. This add function takes two parameter a and b, which has type of number, and also return the value which has type of number. So anyone who come to this file and trying to do this, like adding a symbol and uh, add this value and make the return value to another data type, as soon they're trying to do this, we got an error. So somebody trying to manipulate the original function, so TypeScript immediately say that type string is not assignable to type number. Why? Because we are defining, the person who write this code are defining each and every aspect, that what this function will expect and what the value this function will return, in which data type the value should have, right? So that's why TypeScript is very helpful because as soon we got an error, the person will not going to change this function, and they try to find some another solution. By doing this, the output of the both files were segregated, and they are not interfere with each other, right? So this is a very small and basics example I am taking right here, because this type of scenario will be faced in very large project. Imagine you have a very large team, very large code base, and lots of developer working in that project. So making changes can be very time taken. If I made some mistake in our code, and we all using JavaScript, then there is taking a lot more time to debug our code, because we have to run our code each and every time, or not. I have to run. Whole team who's working on different module have to run and check where this error come from. So the motto of this video is to clarify that why we have to use, because yes, we know JavaScript done everything for us, right? But there is a TypeScript. So why the existence of TypeScript, why we have to use, why we have to write some extra code? Because as you see, there is extra code. We are defining some types like this, so this is extra code. Why we have to spend so much time to writing this extra code, right? So you see, this uh, whatever we time spend on this writing this code will help us in debugging and save lots of time solving the issues in our code. So this is a very basic example. In some other video, we are going to understand that uh, what TypeScript give us features, like there are a lot of data types. There are unions and unknowns and lots of things, void. So we'll understand in some other video. But for now, this video's motto is very clear to give you idea why we have to use TypeScript. So thank you for watching.